Alaska, meaning great land. Known for its stunning landscapes and vast wilderness, and the large game that outnumber the human residents, Alaska can be both awe-inspiring and challenging with its bitter cold winters, being the largest state in the US and twice the size of Texas, with much of it remaining unspoiled and remote, offering a sense of adventure and solitude, making it easy to see why this state hosts those that are both resilient and reserved. A long-time bucket list trip for us, it's an understatement to say how thrilled we were to finally visit and see the last frontier from all angles. We're here to explore, experience, and learn about this great place and create our own story to share. Earlier this year, we decided we were going to take a year to travel North America, but our love for the lifestyle started 4 years prior, with a simple makeshift living arrangement out of our SUV that took us all the way from Ontario to the Arctic. This time, with a bit of an upgrade, we left our home of the last 2 years on Vancouver Island and began our journey north once again. So far, we've sailed along the Inside Passage, where we then drive the remote Stewart-Casier Highway to the Yukon. Meandering through no man's land between northwestern BC and the Yukon, we'd eventually find ourselves in Skagway, Alaska, where we'd sail once again to the small coastal town of Haines, where our great Alaskan adventure would begin.
We were coming to look to see if there's any wood we could use to start a fire. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at all these blueberries. So I grabbed Kyle and I'm like, come look. Here we are, foraging.
And Diesel's just getting his fill while we do all the work. Save some for everyone else, man. Are you gonna toss them in there? So food in Haines, very expensive.
Eggs are $10.
$10 for eggs.
So we're not eating eggs.
No, we're on an egg hiatus until we're back in proper egg price territory. But kind of be to expected. We knew food in Alaska was going to be more expensive. I mean, harder getting things up here, growing things up here. But we are gonna fill up on gas, get fueled up ourselves, get moving.
We're back in BC. We just passed through Canada Customs, went very smooth. It's so interesting crossing these borders because there's literally just like one booth and that's all they have here because traffic is just not as busy as crossing from Ontario to New York, for example. So all is well. We are in BC. We're back on, what time is this? Pacific Standard Time?
Yeah.
We're on Pacific Standard Time now. It's hard to keep track. Not even like keeping track of what day of the week it is anymore. It's just like, what time zone are we in? But very scenic, lots of mountains, and shortly we'll be back in the Yukon.
There's an abundance of border crossing when traveling this part of the country. Between northwestern BC and southern Yukon and Alaska, it seemed we were crossing quite often. This is also one of the most scenic drives we'd ever experienced, as it ventures through the non-polar ice fields on the western side of the continent. The Haines Road, a 240-kilometer stretch of road with no services connecting Haines, Alaska to Haines Junction, Yukon Territory, traveling along the edge of the scenic St. Elias mountain range. Before the road's construction, access to Haines was primarily by water or air, initially built to facilitate the movement of troops and supplies in the 1940s. And like most road construction in the region, the project was a significant engineering challenge due to the rugged terrain and harsh weather conditions. In no time, we found ourselves back in one of our favorite places in the world. Paddling and camping in Kuani National Park, and also where we'd cross off a big check on the bucket list.
Secured camp for the night.
And we can have a fire tonight. That's what I think we're most excited about. She's a little nippy tonight, so a fire is going to be very much welcomed. Somehow the fridge made it down to -8. I think a few too many times hopping in and out of the back seat, so we may have some frozen goods down there.
Apparently the northern lights are visible tonight, and the meteor shower is also at its high point tonight too. So regardless, we're gonna take a look at the sky later tonight once it gets dark. And on that note, I'm gonna crack open these beers because, as you can see, Kyle is already at it with chopping some wood in his element.
The Haines Road is probably now, this is a bold statement, but probably now top 3, top 2 maybe. That whole stretch you pass through a bunch of different terrain, so from the coast up to the tundra, so you're seeing lots. And yeah, some of those Yukon mountains, it was a hell of a sight to see. For safety training.
So, Cessna 172, 2 seats at the front, 2 in the back.
You can really only see this part of the world by air. Home to Canada's largest peak, Mount Logan, we had to get a closer glimpse.
My ears plugged up so I can't hear myself. I feel like we need to go hiking now.
I just want to paddle all those rivers.
So we just pulled over for camp for tonight. We went out in that plane earlier today, and my goodness, was that amazing. That was the first time I've been up in the mountains like that before. Kyle too, and we were kind of just in awe the whole time. Our pilot Catherine was awesome. She identified all the mountains and the peaks and the glaciers and the rivers while we were up there, and it was so cool. Such a beautiful, sunny, clear sky day. We actually got to see Mount Logan, which is the tallest mountain in Canada, and typically you can't always see it because there's cloud cover, and we were able to see it from where our loop was on our route today, so that was pretty spectacular. And then we saw a few other massive mountains as well. They're the St. Elias mountain range, so they're actually like the youngest and fastest growing mountains. They're actually like, they said 5 to 10 earthquakes a day because the tectonic plates are shifting. So they said maybe down the road the mountains may actually end up in Alaska. So pretty wild. Kind of makes you want to go hiking back there a bit more, and Kyle and I were talking about doing like a rafting trip. There's just so many more things to do, and you just, you know, you can only see so much from where you are, like in the main area on the ground here, but there's just so much behind those other mountains, and it just makes you really appreciate what's back there, and like the water source and everything. It's just, it's incredible. So really cool, really glad that we got to experience that together and get to share that experience with you a bit too. So we're just posted up here kind of near Destruction Bay, just at a rest area. We're going to whip up some bacon and eggs and kind of hang out for the night. It's still really nice out. There's like a light breeze, so the bugs aren't really around. And then, yeah, tomorrow we're gonna head to Alaska and actually be in Alaska for a bit longer instead of this in and out nonsense. So we're looking forward to being there.
We're making our famous breakfast for dinner, and since we're making a whole bunch of bacon, we're gonna cook out of the garage space here, just because we don't want our van to smell like bacon in grizzly territory. So yeah, what an amazing experience that was. So worth the money. Like, it's just, you'll never see those ranges the way we saw it from the air. Like, you can't drive there, you can't take a train, you can't swim. Like, you have to be in the air to see those glaciers and those ranges. It's just truly spectacular. And we picked a rest area that has a little bit of cell service because it's Thursday, gotta watch the new Steve video tonight. So we're gonna hunker down, make some breakfast.
Like yard waste, so let's go camping. I access the back of it through this little slidey window on the back, so I don't have to make it obvious that I'm getting.
Today is just gonna be a quick face wipe, brush your teeth, pour a coffee, and then hit the road. We have some ground to cover today. We are in Destruction Bay, Yukon territory, and our goal today is to at least make it to Tok, Alaska. So we're crossing the border today, should be there within the next few hours.
I brushed my teeth, I washed my face, did my skincare. Now I'm ready.
Well, we filled up in Burwash Landing just to get a little bit of gas, and they weren't kidding. The roads are pretty atrocious. Tons of frost heaves, and I mean, they've done their best to patch them up, but just because of the extreme temperatures, it's always, you know, divoting and creating new potholes. So we've definitely slowed our pace down a little bit. Are you on the road? Are you traveling? Sometimes he'll come up and do this when he's just feeling really sucky, but it's mostly just for food. If you're good, there'll be a little piece of bacon for you, okay?
If you're good.
If you're good.
Even if you're not, you get one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's official. We had to go into the garage, into the spare clothing tote, and grab toque for Alannah, grab the bigger jackets, and because it's getting cold.
We just want to be prepared.
Yeah.
Have the options, because we don't have a heater in the van. It's quite insulated, and it is warm with all of us in here, but yeah, it's just good to have the things ready to go.
At the end of the day, we did expect this. We're going up to the high Arctic. Even if it's summertime, there's never a real summertime way up here. So it's going to be cold. And you know what? This is just my unpopular opinion, but I would honestly rather sleep in cold than heat. Sweater and jean weather, that's the best. All right, let's go dodge some potholes. We're driving in pretty remote places, so I like to just put my hand up to wave to people as I'm driving by. And the only person to wave back today has been a cop. And actually, he waved to me. I didn't wave first. But for the last, I think, like 15, 20 cars, I've put my hand up and just nobody wants to wave back. It just makes you feel nice, you know? It's someone waves, you wave to them. It's just a good human gesture. I don't know.
Yes! We got one! We did it! It's the little things. We're back in Alaska! Woo! Just crossed the border, went really smooth. Just a couple of general questions. The lady there was super sweet. And then we just got the canoe inspected. We got a really fun sticker.
Yeah, they had to check out the canoe briefly.
Yeah, they just asked, you know, what bodies of water it's been in, how long ago, and then where we're planning to put the canoe in. And at this point, we don't really know where we're going to be putting the canoe in. But most of the water, or most of the lakes that the canoe has been in, has been very clean, so no worries there. But really cool. That was the first time we've had to do that. So, you know, always new experiences along the way.
Yeah, you build up border crossings in your head so much, and I think, whoa, the road is paved now, but there's the odd bump here and there. But yeah, you build up border crossings in your mind every time you go through, just because you're dealing with law enforcement, I guess. But not that we have anything to hide. But every time we've crossed into Alaska, in and out from the Yukon and Alaska, it's been such smooth sailing. They've been super kind. We got our eggs stolen at the last one, but that's okay.
But we're excited to be here and head to Tok.
Well, I think we've established a camp for this evening, and it's kind of just like this gravel pit that we have here, but we've done a ton of driving today, made it all the way from Destruction Bay in the Yukon, and we are now about 30-40 kilometers further west from Tok. We made it to Tok, about 5-6 hours of driving today, so we put it in a good haul. And man, we caught air a few times. That road is, yeah, it's definitely no joke. I've heard so pretty much everyone told me about that stretch from the Yukon to Tok, Alaska is pretty bad. There was a few sections where you can tell they did some recent paving, which was super nice, but there's, I kid you not, small craters in the ground. So if you're ever making that stretch, always kind of look out for that. But yeah, I think this will do just fine. It looked like our last camper friend that chose this spot as home had probably one of the worst meals I've ever seen. I think we're just gonna tidy up after him or her and kind of just hang out for the evening. Yeah, you tired? You tired from that bumpy ride? Little past Tok, and today's destination is Fairbanks. And from there, we're going to do a little bit of preparation for the Dalton Highway, get an oil change, get any supplies. It's another good day. We're ready to go. I guess I didn't realize how much we were paying in Canada for gas. I mean, I knew it was way too expensive, but I guess we just kind of get used to these things. I was just under half a tank, and generally that's about 65 liters, and I paid $68 to fill half a tank. Generally, if that was in Canada, it would have been almost double. So I was, it's a great surprise. I can see why people cross over the border if they live close, just to fill up their tank.
God bless America.
God bless America.
We are in Delta Junction. We are at at the end of the Alaska Highway. And we just got some gas, fueling up because we're heading to the North Pole, believe it or not. And I was just reading up on that too. It's gonna be like Christmas through up, I think, really soon. I don't know what it is about road trips, but we just always crave baked goods. And I'm gonna bring it back to the time we were in Jasper and we got those raspberry white chocolate scones and they're just so good. And now it's just like, oh, we need baked goods. Since we're done the Alaska Highway, we are now getting on the Richardson Highway, and it looks like we'll have some viewpoints of the Tanana and the Delta River as well as we venture off to the North Pole.
Now we realize there may be a few of you out there who aren't too fond of Christmas time. But for us, just knowing we'd soon pass through a town called the North Pole, we had to check it out for ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, Martha May.
Oh, Christmas. It was a sweet but short visit, as you could have guessed. And despite its name, the city is about 1,700 miles south of Earth's actual geographic North Pole.
Welcome to Alaska in August, where the weather is just not in our favor.
It's not. August is a rainy season, and we've learned that firsthand. We've had a few sunny days. We've actually got lucky. We knew people that came up and got nothing but rain.
But the summers are really short here, and
Yeah.
we've been spending a few days in Fairbanks. We went to the Chena Hot Springs and we went for a hike. And our plan was to do the hot springs, do our hike, and then when we came back into town, we were just going to get a few last minute things and then head up towards the Delton Highway and make that journey. And we've been chatting with a few people and just looking at the weather and the road conditions, and it's just been atrocious.
Yep.
There's lots of rain, snow in the forecast, and there's quite a bit of construction. We just heard from someone who knows someone who is in the crew up there.
A friend of a friend of a friend.
We know people up here, okay?
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, they said the roads, it's passable, it's doable, but the roads are bad. And so we just kind of chatted a bit and just kind of considering, you know, we're like, do we do this drive? And we've already done the Dempster Highway and we know what that's like. Do we want to, you know, take that time, spend the money on gas, and then, you know, have rain the whole time and be in the van the whole time and not see everything? So we want to see the Brooks Range, you know, the whole drive, the tundra, like all the way up to Prudhoe Bay, and it would just be such a shame. And it is that like, oh, that what if kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's really going to rain this whole time. So we said, you know what, let's put that journey on hold.
Yeah.
And let's continue on to explore Alaska a bit more. So we're currently outside of Denali National Park. We just grabbed a coffee at Alaskan Coffee Bean, and we're going to go explore Denali for a couple days and then take on the rest of Alaska. So we're just excited to continue on. You know, it does kind of suck when your plans change, especially when it's one of those challenging routes, but at the end of the day, I think this was the best decision.
Good morning. We were camped just outside of a little town called Healy, Alaska, and last night we camped beside the Stampede Trail. This trail goes right into the heart of Denali National Park. It's actually technically not part of the national park. There's a big cut out of the park if you look on a map, but this is a significant spot. Lots of hunters come here, lots of campers come and hike these trails every year. It was also a very compelling spot for a man by the name of Chris McCandles. Over 30 years ago, he actually hiked out there and lived in a bus for several months here in the interior Alaska wilderness, lived off the land. It was a really amazing story. He actually donated all of his money, finished school, gave away everything, and traveled America for several years. His story has definitely touched a lot of people across the globe, and including myself. It's a really compelling story. I feel like a lot of people resonate with his just desire to be out in the wilderness and experience the world. And sadly, he actually met his demise while living out in an old military bus, the Fairbanks 142. The story was made into a book by John Krakauer and then eventually into a movie. And although his story was not necessarily welcomed by fellow Alaskans, it's touched a lot of people across the world. And it's really cool just to be here in this spot. And it's the very beginning of the Stampede Trail. I believe it was about a 4-day walk to actually get to the bus that Chris was living in, but they actually took it out in 2020 because too many people were going in unprepared and, needing search and rescue. Some actually passed away trying to get to this spot, so it was too much of a liability for the Alaska government. They took it out, and it's currently being renovated in Fairbanks, which is where we were the last few days, but it's currently not being showed at the Fairbanks Museum, so we didn't get to see it. But regardless, it's still really cool to be here just in Alaska in general. We did have plans to go up and do the Dalton Highway, but our plans have done a 180 and we're heading south instead now. So we are packing up for the morning. We're gonna head into Denali National Park and go explore a little bit. I thought maybe this was the actual real bus, but it's a replica. Apparently it's the one they used in the movie Into the Wild. So Chris may not have been in here, but Emil Hirsch, I think is his name, the actor that played Chris in that movie. He was in here filming, so that's kind of cool too. I'm having a hard time trying to explain like why a bus is so significant. It's just a really cool story of, somebody who wanted an alternate lifestyle. And I think the part that people resonate with Chris so much is like he did the whole nomadic lifestyle far before Instagram and YouTube and before it was cool to do it. It really goes to show how dense, how tall these shrubs are, because they look relatively low, but we're looking at a full-grown moose grazing in the grass and we can only see the top of its back. Yeah, he's just enjoying his dinner.
Are there any other ones out?
Oh, I really wish I had a telephoto lens. I just see a row of nice, expensive telephoto lenses coming out of that bus right there.
Today we drove through Denali National Park.
Yeah, I don't want to say Denali was underwhelming, might be the wrong word, but unless you're spending money on the camping, the entrance fee, the shuttle bus, like you can't really see a whole lot. It's still a gorgeous park. Like it's cool. The spots we did get to see, it was still beautiful, but
It's not a very pet-friendly park either.
No.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
But a lot of people traveling or touring, they do have pets. So,
Yeah.
We're able to let Diesel out for like a short little walk, but otherwise it just wasn't.
So that already limited any backcountry excursions we may have wanted to do. No dogs allowed. Any of even the smaller hikes. I think there was a couple when you first get into the park where you can have your dog, but that's it.
There's just more rules when you are in a park.
The whole reason behind it is because why not get 80 people on a shuttle bus instead of 80 people driving their individual vehicles? So I see what they're doing, but we got to see the park as much as we could. We went in our 13 miles and now we're back on the park's highway and gonna carry on. What's your main goal for the day?
Oh, dare I say it? To see Denali.
Yeah, you put it out there.
Well, I mean, it would be pretty cool. We saw the tallest peak in Canada, Mount Logan. So if we could see Denali, which is the tallest one in North America, it's just check.
Checking all the checks.
Check.
Yeah. stumbled upon this hidden treasure right off the highway. So I guess it's not very hidden, but all we see is a dome-shaped building.
Well, it looks like an igloo.
It looks like an igloo,
old
yeah.
gas station.
And there's two crows just perched up on the very top, just looking very sinister, like something evil is happening here, or has happened here. Looks like it's private property, so fortunately we can't go in and check it out, but we can look from afar and just wonder. Now, besides this being the location of one of Alaska's gnarliest bear attacks, there's actually nothing overly evil about the location. Igloo City in Cantwell, Alaska, originally was intended to one day serve as a hotel. The igloo was a failed dream project for a man by the name of Leon Smith. It was supposed to have its grand opening in 1973, but that day never came after failed fire code inspections, running out of money, and finally poor health, leading the structure to sit for the last 50 years. It now sits in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, unfortunately now for people to relieve themselves or even set off fireworks and nearly burn the place down. Up until last year, it seemed the building would slowly just rot away. The plan now is to turn the location into a distillery. With a little elbow grease and the right amount of money for repairs, the area could one day be a popular refuge for a bunch of thirsty travelers. Now, although not the original vision that Mr. Smith had years ago, it would be nice to see the almost failure turn into something for people to enjoy.
There's like spoons that you can collect, and I haven't seen them since my grandparents' house. They had like the spoons all collected like on the shelf.
My Nana had those too.
Yeah, so they're just a bunch of little tiny spoons, and there's like Missouri and Colorado. Yeah.
I haven't seen those in forever. That's so funny. So
okay.
far, yeah, I'm gonna grab one.
Ooh, Snickers.
The image was $21.59.
$21.59. 21.
Watch out for moose.
Well, take care. Have a great day.
Okay, we gotta get one more thing. Look how cute this is.
What does that look like?
We put it up beside him too, just to make sure. We should just cross it out and put Diesel underneath.
At this point in our trip, we had both felt as if we hadn't really achieved the scale of adventuring that we wanted to in Alaska. Looking back on it now, this is where the journey really started to ramp up, and we started to uncover the grandeur of Alaska. The drive through Hatcher Pass was certainly a highlight, offering incredible scenery with a rich history. Named after the early prospector and explorer William Hatcher, who discovered gold in the area in the early 1900s, the pass became a hub for mining activities, particularly gold mining, which shaped the area's development. Sitting at 4,000 feet, the mine is surrounded by rocky, sawtooth peaks and alpine tundra. A prime example that if there's gold in the area, they'll build a mine almost anywhere. Although the area is subject to inclement weather and prone to earthquakes, we still agree it'd be one incredible place to live. We are doing Lower Reed Lakes Trail. Apparently there's a bouldery section that may be a little stressful for Diesel, so it's not overly long. There is a bit of incline, so we'll see how he does with the decline later on when we come back down.
Ready for some mango? Come on. Morning mango. Getting ready for a big hike today. Yeah. And like take a couple stops and hit. We are in the boulder section right now, and it's kind of fun, kind of different than what we've had lately. So we're just gonna go through like the pass where there's more boulders, and then apparently we're gonna get into some mud, so we'll see.
This is why it takes way longer than All Trail says, is because you stop every 2 seconds.
Right? And then you go off trail for blueberries.
Exactly. Attaboy. Woohoo! Attaboy. Nice job, bud. You little athlete. Nice. You got it, buddy.
Show me that rock. It's tripping me out.
The one that looks like it should be not there?
Yeah, it's like doing yoga there or something.
Yeah. What pose would that be?
I don't know. Rock.
Rock pose?
Balanced.
Has
So
no
balanced.
business being there right now.
Yeah.
That's probably coming in everywhere.
Well, we've reached the boulder garden, and the boulders have gotten significantly bigger. So Diesel was struggling a little bit. He was making it up just fine, but he was getting a little too stressed out, so which in turn stresses us out. This whole walk up's been awesome. We're just in this valley, mountains surrounding us. Can't really complain. We're walking along the river right now. There's a little lake around the corner, but it just seems the further we hike, the bigger these boulders are getting, and it's just it's not worth it. There's some drops once we hop from rock to rock, and we just don't want anything to happen to the pup. So yeah, we're gonna turn around. We've also got some not choice weather coming towards us, so I actually can't see the mountains or the way we just came from, so we're probably picking a good time to head back anyways. Yeah, check out how foggy this is now. That's all mountains in there. And within the last 10 minutes or so, it's just totally socked in. Wow, these are huge. I have found the absolute honey hole of blueberries right now. So we're filling our cups, make some pancakes later, or just eat them by themselves because they're delicious.
Pass is really, really cool.
Yeah, I think I have all the things you sent.
Yeah.
We are in Palmer, Alaska currently, and we never really look too much in most of the towns that we stroll through. We have an idea of where we want to go. Our trips are always very loosely planned. We kind of drive when we feel like driving, stop in a town, stop at a place when we want to stop, and then we go when we want to. We generally travel very quickly, and a goal for this trip actually was to try and travel a little bit slower. So if we see a place that we like, try not to crush through it in a day. We'll stay the night, camp somewhere in the area, you know, look a little more into it. So I'd never really heard much about Palmer, and we are currently here. It is totally surrounded by mountains. We drove Hatcher Pass today, and that was absolutely mind-blowing. I think I've seen videos about Hatcher's Pass portrayed by people before, but I never really looked too much into it. I kind of forgot about the whole drive, but it was absolutely incredible. That was a beautiful freaking drive. We are going to head up the road just a little bit, find a spot to camp. We camp out for the night, and then hopefully get a good night's rest because we got some kilometers to put in. Or should I say miles, sorry, not kilometers.
Butts are so skinny. It's really like a man figure. Hi.
sense. Van's clean. It was super muddy today after a hike up in Hatcher's Pass, so we just did like a big clean in here, so it smells lovely. We're in Portage right now, so we were just up in Hatcher's Pass for a hike with some friends. We had a bite to eat in Palmer, drove through Anchorage, and that was a beautiful drive from Anchorage to Portage, just kind of driving along the coast and just being welcomed back to the ocean. That was really nice. So you have like mountains on the one side coming right down to the highway, the road, and then the ocean. And it kind of reminded me a little bit about Vancouver Island, just a little bit. Just a larger scale of mountains and lots of views of glaciers along the way too. Really, really pretty. I was not expecting that. The last few days of being in Alaska, kind of strange, just like the weather wasn't that great and we're kind of like changing our plans multiple times. So I feel like now that we've been through Hatcher's Pass, like that drive alone was just spectacular, and like hiking in there was really great. And then now coming down the coast south of Anchorage and now through Portage, it's been really, really nice. So tomorrow we're planning to go check out Whittier, which is a really small mountain town, and you have to access it through a tunnel, which is through a mountain. And there's only certain times you can go in and go out. So that's the plan tomorrow. Our plan has literally been all over the place because we're literally chasing the sunshine and going with the flow really too. A few hours ago, we were planning on leaving Palmer and driving towards Homer, which is like a 5-hour drive south. And then we checked the weather and we're like, oh, we can kind of camp along Portage, check that out. And then we're like, oh, well, Whittier's right here. It's supposed to be sunny tomorrow. And apparently, if the weather is kind of nice on this side of the tunnel, it might be a little worse in Whittier, apparently. So we do know the town is usually pretty cloudy. So we want to check it out anyway and go through this tunnel and see what it's all about. And we'll share a little bit more about the town tomorrow because it's pretty unique compared to a lot of the other towns that you may explore here in Alaska.
Well, I think the time has come to grab the long johns out of the tote here. Got a lot of our winter gear in this one tote. I need the base layer. And for sleeping, I think I'm gonna get the track pants out. We'll sleep better tonight. During the days, actually still quite nice. It gets a little chilly, but at night it's definitely dropping down. We can see our breath in the morning. Now we're talking. Did you find your old jacket? Attaboy. There you go. Nice and warm. Nice and warm.
Blueberry pancakes. Wild blueberry pancakes.
Yeah, that's the key. Wild blueberries.
They're so good. Way better than the store.
Practice makes perfect. Well, this morning was a head in a bucket shower style morning, and it's calling for sunshine all day, but we woke up to rain. But it's looking like it's trying to peek through the clouds. So 20 minutes or so we have to be at, I think it's called the Anderson Tunnel, to get through into Whittier. Every hour they let cars through. So cars can go through on one half hour, and then the other half hour the train goes through. So they're both have their time slots to go through the tunnel. There's only one way in, one way out from this small town here, and looks pretty cool. This whole drive is just they're all nice, really. I don't even know how to explain it anymore. So we got a time limit, so we're gonna drive over there. We're pretty close, so we'll see you in Whittier. I got the golden ticket, $13 to get through the tunnel. The lady at the stand said about 5 to 8 minutes to go through this tunnel, so this is just a absolute marvel of a construction task, I guess, to go to put a tunnel through an entire mountain. Yeah, actually kind of excited to go through this and check it out. We are here midday, and I took it as Whittier being a very small town on the coast, but we've got tour buses and trucks and boats, and we're full lineups of tourists, so that's okay. I guess other people are just as excited to see it as we are, which is totally fine. It just looks so narrow. Aren't you glad you're not overly claustrophobic? Well, our goal of chasing the sunshine worked out tremendously.
It's so nice.
It's beautiful out today. And
It is not here in Whittier. But we just grabbed a coffee at the Wild Catch Cafe. The food looks really, really good, so I don't know, we might
a
come
lot of
back.
reindeer, yeah. Reindeer stew, soups.
Seafood, yeah. But we've noticed some glaciers already, some trails, so I think we're gonna go find a visitor center and just kind of get the lowdown a little bit and show you guys around a little bit.
Pretty amazing to think that we drove through a mountain. It's not every day you get to drive through a mountain. Just get blasted by a wall of wind as soon as you come up over the pass. Woo! Wow. Oh, this is wild. Well, what better way to see a new town than to check out its glaciers and its mountains. Wasn't too bad of a trek up here, only about 2 kilometers or so, but it was uphill the whole time. Got the endorphins flowing, we're feeling good, and you can't beat this view.
Well, I mean, there's so many lakes and glaciers here, but there's gotta be a easy one. I don't even think so. Like, look, I was looking for those watermelon berries, but not these ones.
Yeah. Overripe, you think?
I don't know, they're like crispy.
Two of the biggest, juiciest looking salmon berries I think I've ever seen.
These are gonna be so good.
Yeah, so excited for that. But no, those are pretty nasty.
Super rewarding with lots of views and pretty easy hike, I would say. Lots of families and dogs doing the hike. So I think we're all done hiking today and we're gonna go maybe check out a place to eat or grab a pint and just kind of kick it for a little bit and hang out in the town before we pass through the tunnel again later tonight. I think it runs pretty late, like 11 or something like that. So we have time and then we'll find somewhere to camp.
Yes, we have lots of time, but if we're not out by 11, we're stuck here. We're actually stuck in the town until morning, and you don't want to know what happens here after dark.
It's like that show From.
Yes. If you've ever watched the show From, it's a favorite of ours right now. That is what happens here. after dark. Just kidding. I'm sure it's a lovely town after dark.
I don't mean to be disgusting, but she and her dad.
So that old abandoned looking building right there, right here in the middle of Whittier, Alaska, is the Buckner building. It was a military housing unit. So for all the workers, the military, the families, everyone would kind of live and operate in this one building. Exactly how they're doing it today, because the town itself, if you've noticed, is surrounded by either ocean or mountains and glaciers. There's only so much real estate in the area. And so they had to be housed in one particular spot. And just the way they built it, they actually built the Buckner building in 7 different pieces, and that's because the likelihood of earthquakes around here is very prevalent. So actually in the early 60s there was a 9.2 magnitude earthquake here along the coast. That is a very significant earthquake that probably would have crumbled most towns, and it's actually still standing even though it's apparently full of asbestos and the windows are all broken. It's definitely been abandoned for a long time. The town of Whittier actually operates the exact same way. So the building up the road is where most of the residents will reside. So they'll stay there, they'll work here in the town. It's actually pretty crazy. The old building actually had everything you would need, kind of like a small city, all in one building. Over 1,000 residents would live in this one spot. They had a barber shop, they had a post office, they had a theater in there, even a jail in this building for all those bad folks that wanted to reside here in Whittier. But I find it pretty fascinating. They still have just left it there. It's a big piece of history, and it's obviously withstood the test of time, and of course that's why they've built the new residence the exact same way. So pretty freaking cool. Awesome little town. Had a really good time exploring Whittier today. We're actually just about to get back onto the road, go through the tunnel and back to Bear Valley is where we camped last night. So we'll see what our options are and camp out for the night. So we're back through the tunnel. We made it to where we were earlier this morning, where we camped last night. And this here is Portage Lake. And so where we were today, on the left side over there, we hiked right in that area and we could see the glacier over there. But we could, if you really wanted to, we could paddle all the way over there and then actually walk or hike into Whittier where we were today. So, I mean, probably easier to just pay the $13 and go through the tunnel. I honestly feel like this is a little more adventurous, I suppose. But yeah, that got me thinking today when we were over there at the top of the mountain when we did our hike. And the weather, honestly, from here on out for the next 2 weeks in these southern coastal towns in Alaska are just, it's supposed to just piss rain for the next couple weeks. So it's not like we're gonna get out of here any earlier than, you know, we were planning to because of the rain. Like if we waited for nice weather, we'd never do anything, right? We said that living on the island, yeah, we never would have went camping if we waited for sunny weather, right? So winter is coming. The fall has been here for a couple weeks already. So yeah, at night it's getting cold, and before we know it, that snow is going to be here. But even with the rain, places like this, the mist and the fog on the mountains, it's pretty incredible. So we went for a run this morning.
Went for a trail run.
Before we left the island, I was getting into trail running a little bit, and then we just I haven't really gotten around to it. And so yesterday I was like, okay, we're going for a run in the morning. So we got up and we just kind of ran down the road here to the trailhead at Byron Glacier. And it was a pretty easy trail, like hike anyway, too. So it was a nice run. And then got a nice view of Byron Glacier as well. And yeah, just put some cold glacier water on her face, just kind of wake up. Felt really good. So feeling alive.
Also, exercise, of course, everyone knows is good for your mental health, and you feel it after a few days. If you're used to exercising a lot, even especially after a week or two, like you feel it. You definitely do, and you need that outlet. Especially, I'm sure Alannah can attest to this when you live with your significant other in 10 square feet as your home. But yeah, one of the sides of, I hate using the term van life, but one of the sides of living in a vehicle and traveling, got to figure those things out. So, but we're going to get on the road, short little drive up the road. We got some furry friends to meet up with.
Gotcha.
So after our morning in Portage, we headed to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Area, where we got to see a lot of wildlife that we maybe wouldn't see on a normal day exploring here in Alaska. These animals were all rescued at a very young age, and they all had different stories. The moose, the grizzly bears, the black bears, the wolves, the foxes, the porcupines, the muskox. They, some of them were separated from their mom at a young age. Some had porcupine quills in their paws and were then separated from their mom. And just so many interesting stories, but they all got separated from their mom. And when that happens, the animals can't learn the ways of finding food and shelter and all those things. So this conservation area takes the animals in, and essentially they stay there for the rest of their lives. And they're all in their own natural habitat. So it was really interesting to see the dynamics that they had set up there. And we've been constantly checking the weather because it's been so rainy here in Alaska. We've had really good days and some sunshine, and we've gone out on a lot of hikes and camping adventures and things like that, but it's just been a lot of rain on the other side of things. So our plan was to go to the coastal towns of either Homer or Seward. And so we opted to go to Seward because it was maybe going to be nicer, or at least drive that way. So we went over to Seward, rained the whole time, really pretty views along the way, but we didn't really do a whole lot. We saw the ocean, which was really great, but pretty foggy, couldn't really see much. We camped along a really cool riverbed, and then we posted up at a cafe and got some work done. And then we kind of looked at each other and were like, I think it's just time to move on. We weren't going to drive to Homer because it was also going to be super rainy. And we're like, I think we just need to go north and just kind of continue on. So now we are currently en route to Valdez. We are currently in Glacier View at this awesome spot along the river and enjoying the sunshine, blue sky, couple clouds. It rained like a tiny bit today, but it's been stellar. We have a campfire going. I could stay here for a few days.
This really had become the trip of chasing sunshine. Maybe a silly thing to do in a place like Alaska. Looking back, we're glad we decided to make the drive north towards Glen Allen, which now looking back on the footage, I can see why this is one of the highlights of our trip to Alaska. We definitely found the weather we were looking for, and before we knew it, we were soaking in a spectacular Alaskan sunset. Definitely one of the best parts of traveling loosely and going with the flow. Being able to adapt quickly and carry on to the next place when things don't work out.
We have a beautiful fall day. We are on the summit of Lionhead hike and overlooking the Madanuska Glacier. Beautiful views. It was really steep coming up and muddy, but worth it.
Yeah, I think
it was fun.
We might be sliding down on our bums for
Yeah,
this one.
it was a lot of fun. I think this has been one of my favorite hikes ever, and that's saying a lot because we've done a lot of hikes, but the views are just, yeah, epic. Just a massive glacier and just snowy peaks all in the background. It's so nice.
How the knees doing?
Pretty good.
Not too much of a knee breaker?
No, I think because it was muddy, it had like some more give.
Yeah, we kind of just slipped down the whole way. But we've been given some CBD and we've noticed that's been helping quite a bit. We've also been picking shorter hikes on purpose. So even though it does have an incline, it's not going to be too far up to actually get to the top, and then coming back down is the same thing. So yeah, he definitely needs the exercise. We all need the exercise. We all feel like $1,000,000. There is points almost in every hike where you're like, okay, why am I even doing this? But yeah, like we were saying, that was probably the best.
That's so awesome.
That was a highlight. That was a highlight on the whole trip, not just Alaska, but in general. And I think with the fall colors coming in too, they're really getting vibrant because it's getting pretty cold at night now, or they're just popping during the day. And this really has just become the chase the sunshine Alaskan adventure.
Yeah, we definitely have to get out on a hike on nice days like this.
Yeah.
Because any other rainy day, it's going to be super muddy and slippery and you won't see a whole lot. You know, obviously we like to see the view when we get to the top.
For sure.
Makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
So this was a great day to go for a hike and hang out and just enjoy what Alaska has to offer.
Totally. We got the liver banana salmon special coming right up. There you go.
No, he's like, I feel like he has his moments, but he's not. Like, Buddy's like, well, he's more
Come and get your love. Do 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 do. There you go. Oh, yeah. Well, the GoPro and the camera probably aren't going to do any justice whatsoever, but when we came in last night, it's a pretty steep S-bend to get up, and with a big clunky van and only two-wheel drive, we're going to see how she gets up there. But the rain's starting to come down, so we're going to head up to the top of the hill just before it turns into mud. So.
Well, just got some gas. We're all filled up. We heard it's a little more expensive in Valdez, so we figured why not get gas now. And we're gonna go check out the next visitor center, which is the Wrangell St. Elias Visitor Center. Looks pretty nice. Get some work done, charge up our Blue Eddy, and just kind of do a few things before we continue on into Valdez.
And we just keep stopping along the Richardson Highway because there's a glacier or there's more mountains or just more scenery that needs to get shot. So we're stopping again. I'm not entirely sure what the name of this glacier is, but it's, even from the road, it's quite massive. But Alaska is wild. These views just keep getting better and better. We are going into a cloud.
Jurassic Park vibes. Just minus the dinosaurs.
Man, at this point, you guys are probably just getting sick of mountains, aren't you? Stop number 702. There's waterfalls everywhere. This whole drive in, once you go over Thompson Pass, it's a wonder that there's not more car crashes on this road. I don't know how you pay attention to the road coming down this way. It's just incredible.
What? Pretty epic.
Well, this will be home for tonight while Alannah's on her walk with Diesel. Start making some supper here, but that drive into Valdez was something special. It's all been pretty special, to be completely honest. Being here in Alaska, it's still a very surreal feeling every day, regardless of weather. I know we talk about weather and, you know, it's been a rainy summer, but it's been a real treat to be here. I got some Lost Lakes on phone, downloaded that when we were in town earlier, so I got some watching material for this evening. But I think I'm gonna make up some chicken stir fry maybe. We got this sauce at Costco, Bacons, not really sure, but it's phenomenal. We came down from Thompson's Pass earlier down into what I believe is called Waterfall Alley, and I can totally tell where that name came from because it is some eye candy. You're just looking from left to right. It's hard to keep your eyes on the road, I'll tell you that much. It's something you need to witness with your own eyes one of these days if you ever get the opportunity. And I hope we can capture it in a way that is inspiring to people to want to visit. It's the task. It's the task of the photographer, the videographer, to try and do some justice on these places. And the drone does that, but it's also us getting better in front of the camera, explaining things and making it captivating on a screen. So if you're still there and you're still watching, we really appreciate it. It means a lot that we get to do this and, you know, create these videos. And at the end of the day, 30 years down the road, we have these amazing home videos that we've created, and it's us living, you know, some of the best times in our life. So
I had no plans of stopping here, but based on those clouds and the wind picking up on a big lake, feeling pretty good about stopping here. There is a risk of thunderstorms today, so that was...
So we are in Valdez. We made it. It's a nice day, and we are currently parked in the hatchery looking at some sea lions, literally right from the parking lot. Like we can see them right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a ton of things.
These salmon are literally swimming into their mouths. Like they just have to sit there and eat as much fish as they possibly could ever want.
If you are someone who likes sushi and has ever experienced like all you can eat sushi,
Yeah.
and you know that feeling you get when you're like, oh my God.
I don't know what it is. Every like big animal, dopey animal just reminds us of Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
Watch your step.
Well, it's times like these I'm really glad I don't have a sense of smell. So many dead fish along this beach here. This is incredible. That guy is stuffed. That one in the middle, just sleeping, sitting up. Whoa! This guy's not messing around. Come on! Pretty wild to see. We're just on the side of the road here, and it's a bit of a tourist attraction, so I think we're probably going to get out of here sooner than later because we don't want to be We don't want to be part of this huge crowd just looking at this one black bear, but she doesn't seem to be bothered by anyone here. Nobody's like shouting at it or throwing food to it or anything stupid like that. So that's always good to see. Sometimes you can see some interesting things around wildlife.
She's been eating fish non-stop, and what the bears like to do actually is look for female fish because they have the fish eggs in them, which is more for them to eat. So you're kind of watching her, I was even looking through the binoculars, and she's just kind of like walking through the water and like picking them up and being like, nah, I don't want that one. And then she'll find one she likes and then eats it, and then she continues on. It's fun.
We're about to embark on a really cool paddle. I'm really excited for this one. We've done some really cool paddles so far this summer, but I think this one's gonna take the cake here. Also, we got a really hot tip that there are some showers in town, and we will be taking full advantage of those today. Attaboy. You're doing it. Buckle up for safety.
This morning we are elevating our morning paddle. We are in Glacier View Park, paddling the lake around Valdez Glacier, and it's definitely a little bit cooler over here. But the rain's held off for us, so we could get out this morning and paddle here, which has been really nice.
No jumping up there, buddy.
Cool. Babe, look at this ice. We go through, I guess we have to go through that way.
Yeah.
It's
I
definitely
guess
not
so. Ice, ice, baby. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Hello!
How are you?
I asked you first!
You're an idiot!
I'm an idiot! Unfortunately, no drone flying today. Would be really cool, but the airport is right over that mountain, and I know they do glacier tours in this area here, so that's okay. Makes you be a little bit more creative, I guess, with just the camera on the ground, or on the water, I should say. Just the magnitude of some of these pieces of ice that have kind of come off the glacier. Pretty wild to see, makes you feel really small paddling next to these behemoths. Yeah, we're checking another one off the bucket list today. Saw the glaciers from the sky a few weeks ago, and Now we get to get right up close and personal with one. There's one right up there. Helicopter. I guess that's exactly why you can't fly drones in here. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why we can't fly drones. Real cold. Go back, get warm.
I'm not really sure where that is. We just got groceries at Safeway in Valdez. We didn't get a whole lot because everything is very, very, very expensive. We got like a $3 onion.
No meat.
No meat. Yeah, there was like I don't know how many pounds it was. Just a little thing of ground beef. It was $35, so a bit much if you ask me. So we just got some eggs and some fruit, a couple bagels, and some wipes because we had a lovely unlimited $10 shower today. It was nice and hot. It was at one of the RV parks here. And we just don't know when the next one will be. And frankly, it's been a little cold and we don't really feel like jumping in the lakes to shower or bathe. So we're feeling pretty fresh right now. And we're
For a limited time only, though.
For a limited time only, yes.
We're heading up from Valdez now, so we have to essentially backtrack, and then we're going to cut in towards McCarthy. That is going to be our next and last leg of the Alaska adventure. After McCarthy, we are heading north again up to Dawson City because the Top of the World Highway is a highway we have not done before, and it closes anytime from now until mid-September. So if weather decides to blow in and they feel like closing it, they will close it, and then it's closed for the season. So if that's the case, we'd have to go south again and then come back up through Whitehorse. But yeah, we really want to check out the Top of the World Highway, so we're making our way there. We should have lots of time. We've been checking in and it still says September 15th. So we've got hopefully a couple weeks. But yes, we're going to head up towards Chitna, probably camp out around there because that will be our hub. And then tomorrow morning we can start our supposedly bumpy ride into McCarthy. Regardless of us being pretty socked in right now, there's a pretty cool little trail slash road. So we're almost at the top of Thompson Pass. Not really being able to see too much. It's still pretty amazing. Just east of here is the Copper River, and from where we camped out last night, close to Willow Lake,
is Willow Mountain. And at one point, thousands and thousands of years ago, during the last ice age, where we are camped out now was very well the bottom of a giant lake called Lake Aitna. Pretty crazy to think, because of glaciers essentially stopping the flow of a river as big as the Copper River, essentially flooded the area. So what you see here beside us of Willow Mountain, you could only see the top. So it just would have been essentially a small island in this giant lake. And that was my little bit of morning reading time this morning here at this little pull-off that we stopped at for the night. We are heading back a little ways into the town of Chitina, and from there we're going to hop on the Edgerton Highway towards McCarthy. Now, it's a fairly bumpy road from what we've heard, but we hear a lot of things about roads from different people, and we just have to find out for ourselves. So we've got our coffee ready. We're going to start up the van and then start this adventure for the day.
Put my base layer on today. I got my warm leggings on. Got my little scarfie here, my toque, and I'm ready to be passenger princess. I'm ready.
Okay.
Ready.
Well, we made a bit of a whoopsie here. Waited until we got to a really small town to fill up on gas. It's over $5 per gallon. What that is in Canadian per liter, I don't know, probably still less than the Canadian gas, but it needs to be done.
Watch out for loose railroad spikes.
Pretty cool. A cow and two calves just kind of hustle along the rocks there. This is the Copper River right here, and went into the river, and it looks like they're trying to cross. It's Alannah's down there with the binoculars, making sure they make it to the other side okay.
Hopefully.
No, you'd never expect them to be such strong swimmers though, eh?
Yeah, that's crazy. See them in that current.
Just a quick pancake pit stop. Living in a van is essentially just sweeping the van 7 times a day. To some, this may seem pretty insane, but we only have 1 or 2 plates, bowls, 1 or 2 each of every utensil, and then because we don't have a sink, we try and just do our dishes as soon as we're done eating. So we just have pancakes, and of course pancake mix turns into cement like within 2 seconds. But it's actually been super nice, because when you have a sink, and this was our logic, if we were to put a sink in here, I feel like it would just be the easy way out when you're really full and you just want to put your dirty dishes in the sink and do it later. And so, yeah, we don't need to have a sink with running water and a place just to put dirty dishes. So, but yeah, living in such a small space, you're in and out of the vehicle so often that I'm sure you can imagine you're just bringing in dirt, dust. So yeah, lots of sweeping involved. Seems like every stop we're doing, we're getting the dustpan out and sweeping up some more. So there's a railway that
goes from the little town of McCarthy all the way to the coast in the town of Cordova, Alaska. A lot of the railway track was put down in the bitter cold of winter months because copper mining was so high at the time that they just couldn't risk waiting until summer months. So weather is cold, sometimes is negative 55 degrees Celsius. That's negative 67 degrees Fahrenheit. And so when they were putting all this lumber down and building with it, it would crack and split. And because the ground was frozen solid, they had to essentially blast the nails and the anchors into the frozen ground. Just a marvel to look at. Right now we're just going over the Gillahina River, and this train bridge is quite high. So seeing how something like that could be constructed in that type of weather is it's pretty amazing. Pretty freaking cool road. So far, it's really not that bad. I mean, there's a lot of divots and potholes and all those things, but I mean, if you keep an eye out on the road and just don't try and rush it, you're probably going to be fine. Yeah, you can walk up right up under the bridge, I guess using your own caution because it's pretty dilapidated. It looks like it's coming down at any moment. It hasn't been in operation for what looks like a long time, but just up the trail a bit is this, look, I guess an old shelter, or maybe could have been someone's home. I'm not really sure, but there's nothing left in here by the looks of it. It's like someone was doing some target practice. Yeah, just some old insulation, so we won't stay in there and huff that for too long. You can definitely see there's a lot of history in the area. Pretty much every road, every railway, everything is built around making money. When there's gold to be found, when there's copper to be found, any way to make jobs for people, they will build it. And just looking at the information behind, you know, how fast they built these areas, this bridge, this one stretch from the last bridge that we were at to here, it only took them 17 days. It's really crazy to think of how fast they built this in such a short amount of time, just so they could get to, you know, the iron ore and the copper, so they can mine these minerals and, you know, make the money. But yeah, we're not getting very far today, very fast. There's so many places to stop and check out along the way, so it's okay. It's a nice day. We're in no rush. Found a great little spot to camp for the night. It's still fairly early in the day, so we weren't going to stop right away, but when we looked at iOverlander, that's the app we use to find our camp spots, it doesn't look like there's so many options the closer we get to McCarthy. There was a few free ones, but nothing that looked very appealing. So this one is really, really nice. We're right on the lake and we can see the mountains behind us across the lake. Very scenic, so we're pretty stoked with this.
Literally just sitting here and a beaver swam by.
So quietly.
Yeah, so quietly. It's like, hey buddy. Hey cutie.
Yeah, he's a little one.
Just swimming. We're on Moose Lake right now, so it'd be cool to see a moose. I mean, we did see a mama moose and 2 babies today, and that was pretty cool. Never seen that before, ever. And they're just like walking on the riverbed, and then they're walking into the river, and then you just see them like swimming down this rushing river. And I'm assuming that they got out okay because they're great swimmers. But yeah, that was like, whoa. Literally, you're in the wild here.
Back in a few days.
Well, I had a boat on the roof and a fishing rod in the garage, so felt pretty silly not to be out here. It's a couple what looks like trumpeter swans at the very end here, so I'm gonna be very, very quiet. I'm gonna go check them out. It's so like overly quiet here where we are right now, so I just feel like I have to whisper. Looks like I'm counting out what looks like 4 babies with them, and they're trumpeting away. So I'm kind of taking that as maybe a warning. Maybe don't get any closer. Yeah, the babies have kind of swam off to the right and they're just sitting there looking at me. It's a big lake. I'll give them their space. Tonight on the menu, we've got some rice and veggies, chicken, topped off with some avocado. And of course, our Costco barbecue sauce. Can't have a stir fry without it now. We got a sunset, we got some supper, and we got some Office to watch while we eat our supper. Because why not?
Just tell him off right to his face over the phone. That's respect.
You did it, man. Day 1. Congrats.
Well, this fridge has really just become a perch for Diesel to come hang out with us on. Just happens to be every time we have food up here.
Coffees are made. It's a blustering morning here at camp, but we got about an hour and we should be at the parking lot where we will head into McCarthy. Look at all these yellows. Wow, there's a cliff there.
Close to the edge there. If it's good.
We're all settled up.
I like the pink.
Paid our $6 to park, and we're gonna make the hike into the town of McCarthy. It's about a mile. You can see there's a footbridge. You actually can't drive any further. There's just this big parking lot. You can camp here for the night, but they're asking $35 to essentially park in a gravel lot. So that's okay because we weren't planning on camping tonight anyways. I think we're just gonna go explore the town for the day, see what it's all about. And yeah, should be fun. The sky is clearing up for us. It's not raining anymore. So let's see what it's all about. Some old track left here from the railroad. I believe before these footbridges were built, the only way across these rivers were essentially a pulley system
So essentially a bucket that you sit in and then pull yourself across the river, which reminds me of that time we did the Della Falls trip. And there is one spot along the trail where we had all three of us in our gear and we had to pull ourselves across in this trolley system. Wasn't that fun, babe?
It was so fun.
So there is, I believe, road access for residents. There's somewhere around 150 to 200 residents, and I believe 30 to 40 stay annually. Well, permanent residents, but I guess just no public vehicle access to the actual town. But you can see the Kennecott mine site over in the distance there. But so far, just a gorgeous walk. I'm kind of glad we get to hike. It's really not that far. Now there is a shuttle that could take us to the Kennecott mine site. It's about 4 or 5 miles. So we could walk it, really don't want to. But we'll see if the shuttle allows dogs. If not, I guess we're not going, but we still get to check out the town of McCarthy, which is what we're here for. See how much we can cram in within the next few hours.
Cold January, up before dawn, down to the Knox mine we've been digging on. No other light but the lamp on my head, and my mama told me that I wound up dead, but there's bills to pay, and the rent's due today, so I'll take my chances this time. Breaking my back, $5 a day, and the company stores get half anyway. While Mr. Cold Baron sits up on a hill in a gold-plated mansion with pockets to fill, and we're underground, 100 feet down, and it feels like we're digging our grave. Don't go down the mines, heed the words that I tell you.
Back in the house, and we are making our way out of McCarthy. It was a short but sweet trip. Sort of a little bit disappointed because, kind of like a lot of the places we visit, we see the other possibilities and places that we can go and adventure and explore, but we have the time to do it, but also we don't at the same time, because we have it in our minds that we want to get back to the Yukon sooner than later. The Yukon is calling for us, and we have to go back. And yeah, we have it in our minds that we're going to get out off the McCarthy Road today and see how far we make it out of here. We're trying to get up to Dawson City within the next probably couple days. Yeah. It's about 9 hours from here, but we've built ourselves up for that mission and we're ready to just tackle it.
We're also going more north again, and I do know someone who lives in Dawson City, and she told me that it's getting really cold in the mornings too, so we just want to get up there and enjoy it as much as we can, because we will be working our way down south through the Yukon as we go along. But yeah, there's lots to do here in McCarthy too. Like, there's actually quite a bit to do here, but we just have to be mindful of our time and kind of pick and choose the Kennecott mines, and you need to either walk by foot there or you can pay for a shuttle. Wow, there's so many bugs.
Are you seeing these bugs flying in right now?
Make this quick. Or you can take a shuttle or walk there, and then there's a 2-mile hike there as well. But just because like the time of day like that we got here, and then just with Diesel, we need to eat, we're just kind of like, let's just use this beautiful day for the nice drive, because like the McCarthy Road's so beautiful too, so we can like make more stops along the way as well. Tomorrow's supposed to rain, so I don't really want to be here.
It might be a good driving day, yeah.
Yeah, because it's also $35 to camp here. It's beautiful. It's right on the river. Don't get us wrong. But it's $35. And
That was the main thing, yeah.
Yeah, we're just like, we just don't want to pay for that.
Yeah, the money, like we could do it, but at the same time, we're making decisions on, because we've said it before, like you have to think about money when we're doing stuff like this, right? So if you're spending $35 on a place to camp just so we can go in tomorrow where, it's supposed to rain anyways, and we could avoid the shuttle. It's $15 per person to take the shuttle to the Kennecott mines. We both have feet. We can just walk there. It would probably be a beautiful hike, but yeah, if we're waiting till tomorrow to do it, we don't really want to do it on a crappy day. So this whole Alaska trip is sort of felt like a scouting mission, because we loosely plan our trips. We don't necessarily have itineraries or do a whole lot of research of like things to do and what to see, because we want to go in with fresh minds, not expecting anything. And I found that in the past that has come with the best surprises, the best towns and things that we're just not expecting, right?
Yeah, just good experiences.
And have made the best memories and experiences. So it's been a scouting mission, and we know we're coming back. There's so much land to see. You're not going to see it in a month, even in the summer. Alaska's huge. And even once you've tackled all the roads, you've only seen the tip of the iceberg of Alaska. There's so much. And even all the time we spent in the Yukon, it's the same thing. We still have so much left to see. And weather is our time limiter, essentially. Top of the World Highway is going to close within the next few days or so. As soon as that cold weather comes in, they shut it down. So we've got to make sure we're there. We can get across into Canada to Dawson City. So we're feeling motivated. We feel good with what we got to accomplish and see here in Alaska. And it's been just an amazing time, paddling the glaciers in Valdez, seeing Wrangell St. Elias Mountains, the glaciers from the sky when we were in Kuani. What an amazing time. And you know what? Yeah, there's still lots left to see. We're teaching ourselves not to have too much FOMO. You can't see it all in one go. And as long as you can kind of settle on that realization, your time's going to be much better. So it's time to hit the road. We're going to make our way up the McCarthy Road. We got a bumpy 2 hours before we get back to the highway. So here we go.
Well, for some reason, it was way bumpier coming back this way from McCarthy as opposed to going into McCarthy. My brain is shaking. It's been shook.
That was way worse.
Yeah, it was really bumpy. We're in Chitina now, so it's getting a little late, so we're just going to push a little bit more because we want to head towards Tok tomorrow and then check out Chicken. So just a little bit further tonight, but the rain's held off. It's actually been really pretty driving with the sunset going down over the mountains, and the colors are just more yellow every day as fall is upon us, technically, I guess. But yes, glad the pavement's back. Good morning from Chicken, Alaska.
Haven't seen any chickens, but we did see the migration of, we believe they were sandhill cranes or pterodactyls. We're not entirely sure.
And we saw them back in Fairbanks because we went for a little walk and we saw a bunch of them in the field. And then we could hear them last night, and we kind of like looked up, and I don't even know how many, there's so many traveling, and they make this very unique sound.
They sound like a prehistoric animal.
Yeah, so they're migrating, and we're like, oh my gosh, we probably just saw them in Fairbanks, and now they're on their way to the next spot. So it was kind of cool to see that. So we just stopped in at the cafe here in Chicken. Sun is shining, and we're gonna get on the road today and head towards Dawson City. I don't know, it's kind of like bittersweet for leaving Alaska, because we like, it did fly by. We got to see so much and experience a lot of firsts together too, which was really cool. But I'm excited to get back to the Yukon.
Apparently this next stretch to the border is some of the roughest terrain, but
very windy.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily, I think the windy part will be better because it forces you to slow down. Whereas when you're on pavement, you go pavement speeds, and then all of a sudden there's a crater in the ground and you're going right for it. There's less time to stop.
Kyle and I are just like,
you just wince and just hope for the best every time you go through one of those, but all the fall colors are out.
Yeah, we'll definitely get the drone up just to see a bit more of that, because the colors are really only getting better as we travel into September, into actual fall season, and before we know it, we'll probably get some snow.
Yes, winter is coming. All right, let's go to Dawson.
Let's go.
We had the privilege of visiting several destinations while here in Alaska, but it really is the space in between those destinations that offer the unforgettable moments that come from life on the road. After driving several thousand kilometers in Alaska, it's a tad comical looking at our route on a map when we realize we haven't even scratched the surface. Of course, you could spend a lifetime here in the state and still never see all of it, but with one adventure down and a few more checks off our bucket list, we are on to the next chapter of this North American adventure. We would now venture back into what we like to call Canada's Alaska, the Yukon Territory, which now that we think about it, might almost seem a little off to even compare the two, as they both have their own unique character that makes them quite different. The Taylor Highway on the American side, leading to the Top of the World Highway on the Canada side, was one epic finale to this chapter, with the fall colors in full swing to greet us back into Canada.